This is Campus News, reporting the top stories from colleges and universities.
Next on Campus News, we'll show you how the MSUM club tennis team is getting ready to take a swing at the competition.
Meet one MSUM student as he gets ready for this year's annual drag show.
See how NDSU engineering students are getting kids excited about science.
But first, voters gather at MSUM for Super Tuesday. Good morning and welcome to Campus News. I'm Alex Larson.
And I'm Shaylee Espeseth. With the Democratic nomination on the line, candidates have been campaigning across the country to find out who will face President Trump in November.
In the Comstock Memorial Union on MSUM's campus, adults of all ages were invited to vote in the presidential primary election. The event is called Super Tuesday. Minnesota and 13 other states hold their primaries on that day. All voters already registered to vote didn't even have to bring a form of ID. Voting started at 7 a.m. and wrapped up at 8 p.m. Minnesota voters were able to leave work to vote without losing pay, vacation time, or personal time. President Trump was the lone name on the Republican ballot. On the Democratic ticket were 15 names, including Vice President Biden and frontrunner Senator Bernie Sanders. Sanders is getting some support from college students.
I supported Bernie Sanders in this election because I just believe that he's the most progressive. I wouldn't say he was my first choice, but I just think that he's the most, he wants change, and I feel like that's what we need in this country.
Joe Biden won the primary in Minnesota. Colleges and universities throughout the United States have had a decline in enrollment for almost a decade. The NDSU enrollment team is discussing a new idea that may become a reality. Reporter Eric George has more on the issue.
Overall, the statistics bear out that a degree from here is still worth it.
This is the message that NDSU's enrollment team is trying to get across to potential students. Colleges and universities throughout the United States are facing a decline in enrollment.
I'll see the trend line. That's not a good line.
And that is exactly what Laura Oster-Alland and her team are trying to get a grip on.
The gap in terms of what financial aid will pay and what students, what the cost is getting larger. And that is a piece of what we're battling against, and people's willingness to take on debt and their perception about debt is a concern.
Debt and student loans was a common topic throughout the meeting. Many of the questions centered on debt forgiveness and free college.
What do you think that could mean for NDSU if in the next couple of years free public college is a reality?
Has it gone beyond the 12th grade at this point? Where does that shake out? We have the foggiest idea.
Oster-Alland was able to comment on the topic.
Well, I think it'll be a wonderful thing for students and student enrollment nationwide. I don't know why students would not take the government up on that offer.
However, there are still some very important unanswered questions in her eyes.
Who will pay? We have a product that we're offering, which is education, and right now we receive funding through the state and through student tuition and a few other minor sources, but those costs will still be there.
With photographer Ty Schonert, Eric George, Campus News.
In the meantime, the NDSU enrollment team is waiving application fees and trying other similar strategies to face their enrollment decline. It's not uncommon to hear of colleges butting in student-run publications, in some cases, stopping certain articles from being published.
Now, an organization with a presence in our region is working to protect the free speech rights of student journalists and journalism educators. The founder of New Voices USA, Stephen Leistapad, presented at NDSU. He says that schools prevent student journalists mostly for PR reasons. In 2015, New Voices USA successfully passed the John Wall New Voices Act. The John Wall law protects student journalists from interference and retaliation from school administration. So far, 14 states have laws that protect the First Amendment rights of the student journalists. New Voices USA has active campaigns in 8 states, including Minnesota. Research at NDSU that could someday help the world breathe easier is getting a big boost. Senator Kevin Cramer announced the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services will award NDSU a $432,000 grant to further its lung disease studies. These funds are approved under the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. The grant will specifically support the Kisspeptins in the Airway research project being conducted at the university. NDSU students are preparing the next generation of young engineers by showing them what the career is all about. Reporter Jenna Scott went to find out what these future engineers saw.
Kids filled the room, eager to learn. Engineering students from NDSU started the day with reading a book to the kids. Then they set out the toothpicks and Play-Doh and gave the kids a special task: to build a tower.
Whoever has the tallest tower gets a prize.
You might win. Might not, though.
The kids immediately got to work. Senior Carly Carrier circled the tables to help out.
Ooh, that looks cool. It's really fun to see them work together in teams and be able to coach them, but also let them come up with their own ideas. Really fulfilling.
Even though the event was meant for the kids, students like Carly also benefited.
Kids are really good at kind of investigating other ways to solve problems, so definitely an eye-opening experience working with the little ones.
NDSU students say an event like this inspires young minds to join the STEM community. With photographer John Hayes, Jenna Scott, Campus News.
Sisters Maria and Emily Gates won the tallest tower contest. The Business Center at MSUM hosted a career fair for students seeking employment. At the fair, current and potential students get to look at job opportunities, programs, and careers around campus. Dozens of groups from local news stations to local law enforcement and everything in between present students with job opportunities. Some booths even have handouts and treats for interested students. While the fair provided attendees with a lot of information, it also provided the people running the booths with a learning experience of their own.
And really this event has really helped us understand, what are students really looking for and what we can expect out of our future employee owners in the future. So it's been a great event.
MSU Moorhead's career office says they will be holding a fair for students interested in part-time work in the near future.
A University of Minnesota scientist is finding a solution for a problem plaguing Midwest waters. Researcher Sam Erickson is creating a special fish to prevent the spread of invasive carp. Erickson's genetically modified male carp will destroy the eggs of female carp during fertilization. The project is getting funding from Minnesota's Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund. Erickson is working out of 3 on-campus labs with several undergraduate students. Education students are learning that the classroom they left not so long ago are changing. Reporter Ashley Johnson went to find out more.
So you're going to the moon, Alex?
I guess so.
Virtual reality in classrooms may seem outlandish today, but these students are preparing for classrooms in the future. Professor Karen Cloud tells us why learning about this technology before entering the field is so important.
Well, I know that once students go out into the field, there is technology out there, and they need to be prepared to use it when they're out there. And so this is one way that they're able to at least know a few things that are out there.
The technology on display ranges from teaching children addition and subtraction to teaching them how to program. There's even a robot that teaches archaeology basics. Virtual reality also offers a host of different things to do. It allows students to create, go to space, and practice problem-solving skills.
Oh, these are Connects.
Technology is here. The future is here. Robots and bots and drones. And the students, our children, that's going to be their work world.
Photographer Madison Nelson Gira, Ashley Johnson, Campus News.
Students take the opportunity to learn these technologies now so they can teach future students.
Facial recognition could be the new mode of security on college campuses, but not everyone supports the controversial technology. 150 faculty members from across the country have signed a campaign rejecting facial recognition on campuses. They argue that it threatens human rights and privacy. Another concern for the technology is the inaccuracies of race and gender. Lawmakers have introduced several bills about the technology, but none have gained momentum so far. Since the campaign launch, more than 50 schools have agreed to not use facial recognition on their campuses. A widespread collection of photos of nurses that spans over a century is making its way to South Dakota State University. The exhibit carries over 100 years worth of images and postcards showcasing the profession all around the world. There are over 2,500 postcards that demonstrate the role of nurses in the times of war and disease, while including social views of nurses over time. The collection is at the Hilton M. Briggs Library on campus and will remain until April 11th. A press group at MSUM is receiving hundreds of story submissions.
And it included books, writings, and poetry. Reporter Katie Betts shows us how New Rivers Press is making this possible.
Of the over 400 books printed during NRP's 50 years of existence, over 170 of them were printed as a result of the Many Voices Project, formerly known as the Minnesota Voices Project.
The Many Voices Project is our annual competition. We've been doing, I think, since the 80s for a full-length manuscript in one in prose and one in poetry.
The goal of the project is to look for authors who haven't published more than 1 or 2 books and to get more manuscripts to publish.
All right, let's go with that one.
After the winners are published, NRP will print 500 to 600 copies to sell. Copies of some winning titles from years past can be found in storage under the Center for Business.
So these are 2 of our earliest Many Voices Project books. We've got The Normal Heart by Madeline Springnether-Golke and The Heron Dancer and Other Stories by John Solinston.
Last year, the project received 527 submissions, the most in 5 years. Rundquist has help from publishing students in filtering through the hundreds of submissions.
We are assigned a certain number of submissions just to go through and vote yes or no or maybe.
Because of the Many Voices Project, MSUM students are able to gain skills and help bring literature to the world. With photographer Ayanna Taylor, Katie Betts, Campus News.
Over the years, the Many Voices Project has published authors from Jerusalem and Pakistan. After nearly 3 years of planning and thanks to a $1.7 million budget, the Fergus Falls M-State Center for Success is open to the community. The new facility offers a Spartan Center for tutoring and a university center where students can earn an online bachelor's degree from MSU Moorhead in 5 different programs. Students say they are excited for what it has in store for them. The new center also offers employment services and job skills training for members of the community. WDS partners with employers to train 6,000 workers every year. The number is expected to grow with the new center. Dust off your dancing shoes because NDSU will be hosting a silent disco later this month in Benson Bunker Fieldhouse. Silent discos are gaining popularity as a way to accommodate people with sensory sensitivities. Each disco goer will get a pair of wireless headphones where they can choose from 2 different DJs, control the volume of the music, or opt out entirely. The event takes place at NDSU on March 27th.
One MSUM alumna is doing her part to help the community, one prom dress at a time. Reporter James McCarty went to the Nemzik Fieldhouse Dance Studio to find out more.
Dresses, dresses, and more dresses filled the Nemzik Dance Studio for a cause that helps high schoolers looking to go to prom.
If the Dress Fits is an official Minnesota nonprofit. We give away free prom dresses to teens in need and try to go around to different communities to help people out.
In high school, Ashley realized prom dresses can be tough to spend money on.
As I was a high schooler looking around, I was like, these are so expensive. I couldn't justify spending a couple $100s on a dress or afford to spend a couple $100s on a dress.
Her goal with If the Dress Fits is to help and impact the community.
I just love the events itself. I love seeing the girls finding the dress that fits them well and they love, and just being a part of that process.
Nonprofits like this are able to help high schoolers looking for dresses.
It's really nice, especially since my family doesn't have a lot of money to be spending on stuff like this, so it's really helpful.
Ashley credits some of the success of this nonprofit to her mom, who helps her throughout the journey.
She has, her master's in business stuff, and I would say I'm a little bit more tech savvy and know how to advertise and do the event process. So I think her and I work well together and kind of balance each other out with our strengths.
With photographer Jacob Ambrose, James McCarty, Campus News.
If the dress fits, we'll also be traveling to International Falls, Barnum, and Duluth to give dresses to high schoolers for this upcoming prom season. While some college students take a week to unwind in the sun, others are gearing up to give back this spring break. More than 200 students from 22 different colleges and universities will spend their school break with grid alternatives, solar spring break. These students will spend their vacation installing no-cost solar power for low-income families all over the United States and Mexico. The program is in its 6th year of providing an intensive service learning opportunity for students who are passionate about renewable energy. Get ready to blast off at MSUM with Space Quest Live. The planetarium at MSUM offers year-round immersive experiences for students and members of the community. Space Quest Live is an adventure through the galaxy where the audience gets to be the guide, ensuring that every showing will be unique. Space Quest Live takes place this weekend.
MSU Moorhead's Kesey Commons hosted a special celebration for Leap Day babies. Those who were born on February 29th were the guests of honor at this birthday-themed Kesey meal. Birthday cake, ice cream, and leapfrog-gamed activities were part of the birthday festivities for everyone who attended. Kesey's management took extra steps to plan ahead for this rare event.
We just went through our food menu, and tried to do some different kinds of food that would relate to either a birthday or kind of a leap kind of theme, whether it's frog or rabbit related.
The next Leap Day will take place on February 29th, 2024. For college students and others in Moorhead, braving cool temperatures to enjoy an early spring ice cream cone at Dairy Queen has become a local tradition.
As Saeed Zadie tells us, that has meant 71 years of dilly bars and banana splits.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
No matter how snowy or cold it is outside, people are coming to show their attachment to the Dairy Queen in the heart of downtown Moorhead. It's just not another ice cream place for the locals. It's a tradition passed down from generation to generation.
We have been coming to this Dairy Queen since I was a kid, and we brought our kids, and now I'm bringing our granddaughters. So we love the Dairy Queen here in Moorhead. It's been a family tradition for now 3 generations.
One of the biggest reasons is it's right by MSUM and Concordia College. Every year, students and faculty plan their trip and timing ahead of time so people can visit with friends and family over an ice cream crate.
Major League Baseball almost. You can't miss it. Rain, shine, cold, warm, no matter what the weather is, you got to be here. You can't miss it.
The Dairy Queen on 8th Street in Moorhead has been serving ice cream since August 1949. This location is one of the oldest original stores in the Dairy Queen chain, and it also has one of the oldest traditions in Moorhead, where people line up every March 1st to get their first ice cream of the season. With photographer Kylie Chapman, Saeed Zaidi, Campus News.
The Moorhead Dairy Queen opens for the summer and closes back down for the winter the last week of October. And now we turn it over to Jordan Austin for a look at this week's sports.
What's new this week, Jordan?
Got an interesting docket of stories, and we'll start at NDSU. Records are meant to be broken, and one NDSU basketball player has done just that. Michelle Geislerova broke the NCAA Division I record for the most consecutive free throws made. Geislerova gives credit to her dad, saying he would try to distract her whenever she would shoot free throws when she was a kid, and that helped her to stay focused at the line. The previous record was 71 consecutive free throws, and she broke that in a win against Purdue Fort Wayne, where she also scored her 1,000th career point.
I mean, it feels good. It's really special to me, and I'm really happy that I can represent NDSU with that, but overall it doesn't really feel any different than it was the week ago, you know?
Geislerova's free throw streak ended at 75 in a win against UND. One big-name NDSU Bison defender may have played his last down for the team. Linebacker Jabril Cox has entered his name into the transfer portal and is looking for a new team to play with. There are reports of schools in the Big 10 and Big 12 with interest in the linebacker services. As for why he's moving, Cox said in a going away tweet that he is fulfilling a dream of playing at the FBS level. Draft analyst Dane Brugler supports Cox's move, saying it will help him improve his NFL draft stock. An NDSU women's track and field team took the Summit League crown at Purdue Fort Wayne in Indianapolis. The team came out of the Summit League with its 13th consecutive indoor title and 25th championship overall. The Bison swept the conference by 65.5 points over second-place South Dakota, leaving their final score at 213.5. The women's next stop will be at the NCAA Indoor Championship starting March 13th. The MSUM Dragons club tennis team is back this year with something to prove. Damian O'Donnell takes us to the court to show us more about what drives his team to success.
Oh, it's a laser beam, baby! Woo! That's how you play the game of tennis!
This Dragons club team is getting hyped for the upcoming tournament. The whole squad is gearing up for a deep run at sections. Although the past 2 years have been disappointing for the club, players are coming in confident that this year will be the one they will get it done.
This team, we all work together, and there's not just like one main person who's in charge. We all take part in running practices and helping out when we can.
This Dragons team brings something different to the court than any team before it. They believe the work ethic is something that puts them above and beyond.
Everyone's been going to practice. We have some people that hit the gym every day. So I think we're looking pretty strong this year.
Having great team chemistry is one of the reasons the club's captain is excited about the upcoming tournament.
I think it's got a lot of good banter. I think we're all really close friends. That's how you get the dubs, baby! And it makes coming to tennis more enjoyable every week.
To assure their spot at sections this year, the Dragons will be looking to crush the competition.
Believing you are a higher power never hurts either.
I'm a god!
With photographer Dominique Trowbridge, I'm Damian O'Donnell. Campus News, Sports.
The Dragons will be competing for a spot at Nationals held in Florida in early April. Scholarships for competitive gaming are being given to North Dakota students. Dickinson State University's esports program specializes in Rainbow Six Siege, Fortnite, Rocket League, and Apex Legends. Coordinator of esports at DSU, Josh Nichols, says students see the program as a big draw to the college. DSU is also leading school in competitions, with Nichols calling the team a leader, especially in the Rocket League team. While preparing for National Signing Day, there was one addition that had a bigger impact for Dragon football coach Steve Lockway. Steve and his wife Patty added child number 8 just before National Signing Day. Coach Lockway says baby James really opened his eyes to look forward to the future of his new child along with the future of his athletes. If there's one lesson the family has learned, is that there's a lot of give and take to make things work. The Dragons welcomed 38 athletes from across the country to be a part of the team on signing day. Very busy week in the Lockway household.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, and big congrats to the Lockway family. Thanks, Jordan.
It was a night to put on makeup, crazy clothes, and strut the stage.
MSUM's Rainbow Dragon Center hosted their annual drag show in the CMU ballroom. This event had drag kings and drag queens who performed choreographed numbers to music. The performers wore fun makeup and costumes to add to their characters, which the crowd seemed to enjoy. Not only were there performances to watch, the night included food and light-up crowns for those who attended. One performer in particular shares his favorite story and his favorite part about being a drag queen.
Reporter Marissa Shyok followed him as he got ready for the show.
This is Peter Van Batavia. But on nights like tonight, he goes by a different name.
Chastity Bell. That's my character, Chastity Bell.
Even though the drag show scheduled at MSUM last year was canceled,
Contouring.
Chastity Bell still made her debut.
No, once I got all ready and stuff, I was like, well, I can try something else. So I was able to do it in my small town.
Peter first became interested in makeup while doing theater in high school, and now says that makeup is one of his favorite parts about doing drag.
I love this, I don't know. And I just love doing makeup. Sometimes I'll just go out in makeup for no reason.
Wearing creative makeup is just one thing that contributes to the character, and Peter says that he enjoys playing a character that is nothing like himself.
Please give it up for Chastity Bell.
I'm going for a punk look I got some punk songs I'm performing tonight.
While most everyone in his life is supportive of his choices, Peter says that there are always those who don't understand. But that doesn't stop him.
If they want to be angry about it, I guess they can be angry I'm wearing makeup. What's the big whoop, I guess?
According to Peter, the inclusive and accepting environment at MSUM is one of the main reasons that he chose to go to college here. And the drag show is just another example of those traits that are so important to him. With photographer Ben Podratz, Marissa Shayak, Campus News.
The Rainbow Dragon Center hosts the drag show every year, and it is open to all students. And that's it for this edition of Campus News.
We leave you with another look at the drag show.
Thanks for joining us and have a great week.
Campus News is produced by the Television News Workshop in the School of Communication and Journalism at Minnesota State University Moorhead in cooperation with Prairie Public Television.